The sound of a voice outside the window jolted Nora awake in the middle of the night. Nora sat up in bed and scanned the room, her eyes groggy and the moon still shining outside the window.
The sound of an unfamiliar voice awakened Nora. She sat up and rubbed the sleep from her eyes, listening intently. The full moon illuminated her room with a dull grey hue, casting shadows every which way.
And there she stood on the porch, overlooking the yard. The air was cold and caught her lungs. As she exhaled, she could see her breath as a cloud in the air. She wrapped her bathrobe tightly around her. It was colder than she had expected. It was mid-October after all, and they did live in northern Vermont, so it did make sense that at this time of year it would be cold.
The autumn night was crisp and cold, and as she inhaled, she could feel the brisk air filling her lungs. Exhaling, Nora's breath hovered before her face in a small cloud, briefly illuminated in the moonlight before fading away. There was a light wind, and Nora wrapped her bathrobe tightly around her against the chill and impatiently brushed her long auburn hair out of her eyes as she stepped out from the safety of the front porch.
She continued to walk and follow the child, and the child was now running full speed towards the woods. She thought this rather strange, as though the child was trying to run away from perhaps something behind it. She wanted to call out and tell the child, "Do not go into the woods, it's dangerous." But before she was even able to say anything, the child ran straight into a tree and disappeared. Nora was shocked. She stood there, alarmed. What had she just witnessed?
But as she followed, she realized that he was not going to stop. Instead, he was running faster, barreling at full tilt directly towards the shadowy gloom of the trees. She wanted to warn the boy to slow down, but before she could say anything, he ran straight into a tree. Nora let out a scream, clasping both her hands over her mouth, and stopped in her tracks. The boy had completely disappeared.